The moment you stop chasing, you start attracting. But most people don't get this. They think holding on tighter will keep things from slipping away. Ever tried gripping sand in your hand? The harder you squeeze, the faster. It escapes relationships, friendships. Even opportunities work the same way. The more you force something, the more it resists. But when you step back, when you detach something, surprise ring happens. The energy shifts, and suddenly what once ignored, you starts noticing. You welcome back, my friends. If you're tired of always being the one who cares more, always trying to prove your worth, or wondering why people seem to value you, only when you're gone, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay till the end. Because this might just change how you see yourself forever now. Picture this. You're standing near a campfire at a party. The fire is warm, comforting. It draws you in. But if you step too close, it burns you. You back off, and suddenly the warmth starts pulling you back again. That's the paradox of attraction. When you stop leaning in, that's when they start leaning toward you. See, most people live in fear. Fear that if they stop trying, stop proving, they'll be forgotten. But let's expose that lie today. Detachment is not about giving up. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about knowing your worth without needing to prove it. Think about magnets. Ever played with them as a kid? If you push one too hard toward another, it repels. But if you hold it at just the right distance, it pulls in naturally. Human relationships work the same way. The harder you push, the more they resist the moment you relax. That's when they start thinking about you. That's when they feel your absence. Detachment is an art. It's the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to chase, I don't need to beg. I know my worth. And here's the crazy part. People feel it. They sense it in your energy, in your silence, in your absence. At first, they won't react. They'll pretend they don't notice. But inside, something shifts. It's like oxygen. You don't notice it until it's gone. That's when the questions start creeping in. Why aren't they calling me? Have I lost them? Were they really that unbothered? And this is where most people fail. The second they see no reaction, they panic, they text first, they check in, they give in to fear, and that's when they lose all their power. But the ones who understand detachment, they do something different. They don't flinch, they don't chase, they don't break their silence. And that's when the tables turn. This isn't just about relationships, it applies to everything. Friendships, careers, even self-respect. You don't chase opportunities, you become someone opportunity chase. You don't beg for love, you become someone love gravitates toward. You are the prize, not the beggar, not the follower. The prize. Stay with me, because today we're breaking down exactly what happens when you detach, why it makes people crave your presence, and how you can use this to never second guess yourself again. And here's something most people will never understand. The most powerful move you can make isn't to fight for someone's attention, it's to become someone they can't ignore. When you master detachment, you master attraction. The moment you stop giving your energy away to those who don't deserve it, something magical happens. Now, here's my challenge for you. Drop this affirmation in the comments below. Detachment is my art. Say it, own it, believe it. And if this message hit hard, do this, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon because you need to hear more of this, because you are stepping into a whole new level of power. And trust me, what happens next? You won't believe it. Stay with me. Let's step into real power together. 1. When you stop chasing, they start running after you. The strongest person in the room isn't the one making the most noise. It's the one who can walk away without saying a word. Silence is power and detachment. That's the secret weapon most people never master. People spend their whole lives trying to prove their worth. Chasing, convincing, begging to be seen. They think if they just love harder, give more, stay longer, they'll finally be valued. But here's the brutal truth. The more you chase, the less they respect you. The more you try to convince someone to stay, the easier it is for them to take you for granted. Ever put someone on a pedestal? What happens? They start looking down on you. That's the cold reality no one wants to hear. But today, that illusion shatters. Imagine walking into a store and seeing two watches. One is locked behind glass, shining under perfect lighting. No price tag in sight because its worth isn't up for debate. the other thrown in a clearance bin surrounded by dozens just like it, a big flashing sign screaming, "Take me, discounted. Please buy me." Which one do people desire more? The one behind the glass, the one that doesn't beg for attention, the one that sits in its place, with quiet confidence waiting for the right.
Works, we don't panic when something is present. We panic when we start sensing its absence. Imagine a fish swimming in a lake. It never thinks about the water. It never stops to appreciate it. It assumes it will always be there. But take that fish out of the water, and suddenly all it can think about is how much it needs. That's exactly what happens when you detach. At first, they don't notice, they enjoy the space, they feel in control. But then the silence starts getting louder. They're used to you always checking in, always caring, always showing up now. Nothing, and that nothing is terrifying. That's when the fear sets in, the fear of losing your attention. They start replaying old conversations, looking for signs. Their mind races. Did I push them too far? Were they always this strong? Did I make a mistake? This isn't about ego anymore. This isn't about playing games. This is a real shift in emotions, because when someone is always available, we assume they always will be. But the moment they disappear, that assumption shatters, and trust me, they feel it. They check their phone hoping to see your name. They scroll through old messages, reading things they never paid attention to before. They hover over your social media, searching for proof that you haven't moved on. And here's the best part. Even if they don't reach out yet, you're on their mind more than ever. This is the paradox of detachment. The less you give, the more they crave. The moment you stop chasing, you become something rare. And what's rare becomes valuable. But this is where most people fail. The second they see the other person struggling with their absence, they break. They send a text. They check in. They undo everything, because now the other person knows it was all an act. The detachment wasn't real. The silence wasn't real. The moment things got uncomfortable, they ran right back, proving they were never in control. But those who truly understand power, they stay still. They let the silence do the work, because that's when real attraction builds. If you take one thing from this, let it be this. Your presence is a gift. Your attention is power. And when you take it away, people finally see its value, and what happens next, you won't believe it. For their mind becomes their worst enemy. The mind is a dangerous place. It creates storms that don't exist, fears that aren't real, and problems that never needed to happen. The moment you step back, the emotional storm begins, not for you, but for them. At first, it's nothing, just a small ripple, a passing thought. But oh, they must be busy, they'll text me soon. But as time passes, the ripple turns into waves, and suddenly the silence becomes deafening, and this is where the emotional roller coaster begins. First comes annoyance. They brush it off, telling themselves, why haven't they reached out? This must be some kind of game. They're probably just trying to get a reaction out of me. They act unbothered. They try to convince themselves that they're still in control. Then comes curiosity. The thoughts creep in like shadows. Wait, what if they actually are busy? What if they're out having fun? What if they met someone new? They try to distract themselves, but the silence makes them restless. And then comes the worst stage. Insecurity. The ego starts to crack. The questions get heavier. Did they ever really care? Was I not as important as I thought? Did I misjudge everything? They start realizing something they never wanted to admit. Maybe they were the one being taken for granted. This is the moment when everything shifts. Because the truth is, people don't realize what they had until it's gone. They don't notice the warmth of the sun until it sets. They don't appreciate oxygen until they can't breathe. They don't recognize value until it's no longer available. And now your absence is being felt. They scroll through their phone, hovering over your name. They check to see if you've watched their stories. They type a message, then delete it. They stare at old conversations, wondering when things started to change, but pride is a dangerous thing. It keeps them from reaching out. So what do instead? Do they test the waters? Maybe they post something dramatic, hoping you'll notice. Maybe they like an old picture of yours, just subtle enough to grab your attention. Maybe they drop a comment that means nothing but also means everything. And this is where most people fail. They see that breadcrumb, and they break. They take the bait, They engage. They give back the validation that was being questioned. And just like that, the emotional roller coaster comes to a screeching halt, because now the other person knows they still have control. But those who understand true detachment, they don't flinch. They don't react. They let the other person sit in their emotions, and that's when the shift deepens. The thoughts get louder, the regret creeps in, because suddenly they're no longer in control of the story. They're not the one being chased anymore. They are the one chasing clarity. This is the moment they start questioning their own actions and